I don't know. Let's just talk about this Nick stuff. Let's get right into that.
All right. I wasn't sure how you were going to treat this.
The Nick stuff?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much.
Well, the affidavit came out, and it's just every part of it just reeks of a pastor on a fishing expedition to scrounge up some bullshit, like small town church gossip, which turned into this jilted whatever ex fucking swinging partner. This guy Aaron Imholt, the steel toe guy, bragging on his podcast about how he was doing cocaine with Nick, and then a cop who self-identifies as a drug expert / child sex porn like he's got every crime listed that he has extensive training in. Watching Nick streams, going cocaine. There it is. Probable cause. Which is in no way is fucking retarded. All the child neglect shit came from one preschool teacher.
I checked just a little bit. I was just wanted to see kind of what people were saying. Why are people saying that, like, oh, and his kids turned him in? Like, is there anything to that I didn't really?
Connor,
I went out of town.
You went out of town. Yeah. Let me add Connor here. A real legit defense attorney.
And I take everything with this with a grain of salt. I mean, it's like I haven't.
I mean, look, man. If the preschool here's the facts. If the teacher was concerned that neglect was going on, she's the mandated reporter. It's not. It's not start being Nancy Drew and discussing it with everybody in the church.
Does she report?
And then the biggest attention whore in church, the fucking one who's on stage every week doing the podcast, goes to the cops and takes all the fucking credit for it and the glory, right?
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Well, I mean, do they say who made the? Who would they say who the mandated reporter is? Did we go over that?
It's the teacher. They both are, but the person who gets the complaints is the one who has to do it. It's not.
Well, yeah.
Hey, let's all gather up. And because she didn't. I will say, I'm going to say definitively because I know Nick, and there's zero fucking chance that any child neglect was happening because he's a fucking millionaire with a house full of. I mean, these kids are like in baking classes. I know what his house looks like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What I will say is that if you are in deep with addiction, anything is possible. Like, just because it doesn't mean you can't neglect the rest of your life. I have no idea if he's anywhere near there.
Man, I've seen liquor addicts and coke addicts. Yeah. They don't look like they don't wake up the next day and drive their kids to school. They're not fine the next day. They're fucking a disaster all the time. They don't get caught with a whole ounce of cocaine.
Yeah. My uncle, he was up for days at a time. Sometimes, And
I mean, that's not what this was.
He called the cops one time where there were people in his bushes in the front yard and stuff, and he remembers them looking like there's nobody here, and in his mind there was fucking people out there.
That's the addiction I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fucking find this dude. Why can I never find shit in my own Discord? I'm just going to turn into a pedophile so I can work Discord better.
Oh, boy.
That's the only way to... I mean, I need Discord to do the show, and I can't... The only people that know how to use it correctly are pedophiles, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and there's Nick and his wife are home, right? I mean, it does seem... I'm surprised that child neglect is thrown around where it's like...
They have to. They have to make the drug stick. They fucking have to.
It does seem. It seems like. I mean, you would be seeing the. It's not like you lock them in the shed and you've got the house to yourself, right? I mean, like you're seeing them all the time. I would imagine that
you're driving them to school, man. It's not kids that miss school.
It would surprise me if they were that far into hardcore, nothing else matters addiction. I'd be very surprised.
It's so fucking
I'd be very
stupid.
Surprised.
It's so fucking stupid, and it's pissing me off more and more by the day that the people who are jumping on it the hardest are coincidentally the people who have the biggest incentive to drive Nick down with charges that he can't beat. He can't come out and say, my house is full of food, the pantry's full of food, the fucking teachers, the kids are hungry at fucking lunchtime. That's what they're definitely hungry then. I'm sure they did say, "Oh fuck, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day." Can someone help me, please? Can a pedophile in the Discord help me, please?
Oh my God! No, you're not going to get any fucking.
I will.
Yeah, there's always a smart ass, huh? It's all fun and games.
Is he in there? Obviously, I'm biased because he's my friend.
Yeah, of
I
course.
support my friends.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I support my friends over the fucking government and church.
Yeah. Well, yes.
And I attack people who don't support them.
That also true. Also true.
Okay, now I gotta figure out how this.
Whatever happens.
Him as a friend.
I really the only thing I'm not judging him.
Nick?
Not. Yeah, I don't have any fucking. I don't have any place to fucking do that. Like, I like Nick.
Okay, he's in my
like,
server.
Nick is he's a smart, capable guy.
Yeah.
All I would want is for him and his family to be all right. That's it. That's it.
That's nice.
Whatever that needs to happen, whatever he needs to do, whatever problems he does or doesn't have, how much it doesn't. It just there's a, you can whether you're in the weeds or on the side of the roadway, you can get it back.
There he is. I see him. All right. So Connor's a defense lawyer. Connor, can you say something? I'm pressing all the buttons. There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I guess I'm
Perfect.
not such a non-pedophile after all, Sean. Okay.
Press the correct buttons.
Connor, how you doing? You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm doing pretty well. I'm happy to be here. My name's Connor. I'm a defense lawyer in the South. I practice criminal justice in a county of about 50K people, and which is roughly the size of the county Mr. Rekieta works in. So I think I have a little bit of experience in the similar demographics that he may be finding himself in.
Can we call him New Nick?
New Nick?
New Nick.
Do you want to be cursed with that name, Connor? You want to be New Nick?
No, we don't.
I don't want to be
His
New Nick.
Connor. His name's Connor.
The police may be knocking on my door if I'm New Nick. I don't want that.
So Nick he petitioned for a new judge, and he was awarded a new judge in his cocaine cowboy trial
because
today.
things that statements he made she could have bias because of that.
He called her a
Is
dumb bitch for like an hour and a half, that she's a typical woman and liked to argue, and that she'd come back the next day and say, I was thinking you were right. He really.
So he knew he had to get out in front of that, right? I mean, okay,
Makes sense.
Yeah, he didn't run a Trump situation.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know, Connor. What's your first thoughts on this whole thing? Anything jump out at you that's interesting with your experience?
Yeah. So the first thing I noticed was basically why they were searching his house. Typically, when you get a search warrant, you describe to the judge who approves the warrant a pattern of behavior that would lead legal speak, but a reasonable person to believe a crime is happening or about to happen. And I've never seen a search warrant read like this one. It starts off with.
Really? You mean what do you mean you've never seen a search warrant read like this?
Yeah. So I practice, a lot of criminal law. I've read a lot of search warrants. A lot of the search warrants for going into somebody's house typically involve, allegations that person is dealing or trafficking something.
And what would that be like? Like, would that, because the allegations here are the pastor.
It'd be like
it do?
Yeah. But it is.
The pastor says Nick left sermons a couple of times and came back.
Yeah.
That other parishioners at the church saw him driving drunk or under the influence.
Okay.
And that he seemed lethargic at church, if you can believe that.
He's got 5 kids. Yeah.
So I don't know about Minnesota, but leaving church isn't a crime. So there needs to be a little bit more to it than that. So yeah, that's what I'm saying when it reads a little different than most of the warrants I see. Most of the warrants I see, it's police either doing a controlled buy from somebody, like they'll knock on their door, go inside, and they'll be wired up and mic'd up, and get somebody on tape selling them drugs, and that's how they justify the warrant.
Oh, so I shouldn't be is that not, you shouldn't be selling drugs to random people that come to your house?
You should at least vet them.
Okay.
To make sure they're not, pat them down.
Like, you're not a cop, right? Is that still the way to do that?
Because you have to tell
I think that's pretty foolproof.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's controlled buys, or the police are just like on your street surveilling you, just making sure that there's a reason to go in the house, because they need ultimately a reason to apply for a warrant to a judge. So if there's a lot of people going in and out, a lot of shady folk, like different car every day, that could lead somebody to
reasonably
think that there's drugs going on at the house.
Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of, there's the difference between child neglect, which is sort of claimed which is claimed as secondhand by the pastor. The pastor says the preschool teacher says the kids said they were hungry. That's one thing, but then the drugs, it doesn't seem like the two are related. In all the statements in the affidavit for the search warrant, it seems like the drug stuff all came from Aaron Himholt, and then the cop watching Nick on stream, and all the kids stuff came from a preschool teacher saying that the kids were saying they were hungry. Is that weird? Like, is that... I don't know.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen something like that?
So I've never seen a warrant to go into somebody's house for child neglect. Usually that is a welfare call. A mandated reporter puts in a tip to a hotline somewhere, and then the Department of Human Services or CPS or whatever your state calls it goes in and does an investigation for neglect.
Yeah.
Those are two separate things. Two separate agencies handle them. Typically, the police don't really care unless there's something else going on. And so, I don't think you get the search warrant without the video. And that's really the only thing I can see that points to maybe crimes happening, probable cause for that.
So is that...
But even then, it's
that
thin.
valid? Because if I'm even a little bit high energy, and I have never done drugs streaming. I mean, besides liquor, never. But every episode, somebody will say, I swear to God, that's true. Every episode, somebody will say...
We've been on other people's streams on acid, right?
Yeah, but this show.
Yeah,
I've never done this show on anything other than liquor.
I've never seen you under what I would even think was like on crosswords or anything like that. I've never seen it.
Is that... But there was always be a bunch of people saying, "Oh, you're obviously so coked up on this episode," and like it's not. I mean, there's no point in arguing with it.
Yeah, but
I know it's not true. What I'm asking is it possible for the cops to watch a stream and self-identify as like visual drug sniffing dogs and say like, "Boom, this guy's obviously on something other than life. He's obviously high on something other than life and law. So I need to bust him. I need a warrant."
Yeah, I think it's theoretically possible, but again, I've seen hundreds of these search warrants, and I've never once seen that. I've never seen somebody get a warrant for essentially suspected drug use.
Yeah.
It's always for dealing, or it's always for repeated trafficking drugs in or out of the house.
And there's been
never just because,
there's been no accusations of like selling drugs, trafficking drugs, anything like. Because I know what he's saying. It is like I've heard because I remember
weird.
The cop that we both know. He worked like
full on narcotics
officer. Long time. They talk about they do the buys. They
would
do like
say
all
the same thing.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. Like it's not just like so and so does coke on the weekends. Go over to his. It's like
really
no. Like
really kick the shit out of
Right. It's like no. It's what a reason. It's like what are all these weird cars doing at odd hours all the time. Like it's a lot more than like there's drugs. He looks high on stream.
Yeah, and being high isn't really it's not a crime unless you're doing something else. Like if you're driving while high, that's a crime. If you're making an ass of yourself in public, that's a crime. But doing or being intoxicated without anything else, that's really not a reason to get a warrant.
You could be in the hospital.
Right?
I mean,
exactly.
You're not doing anything. You're high. They made me high.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Rack up crimes every couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Based on how
grab a lot of
you
nurses,
are.
man.
So what about like this? I've seen people throw this one at me a lot. They say like, well, it's all these things combined. Really, it's a pattern of behavior. And when anybody says that, I start thinking, oh, you actually have nothing. You just don't like this guy. And you want to get him for something. Is there? Yeah, go ahead.
There is something to that, in that to get a search warrant, probable cause is based off of what we in the legal profession say the totality of the circumstances, which is just all the factors added up makes a reasonable person think crimes are happening. So yes, but it seems clear to me that you don't get a search warrant without that video. I mean, I really can't see people going into somebody's house just for, children are dirty. Children are dirty all the time. Like they're for some reason they're focusing on that that video. And I haven't watched that video to make it clear. I don't really follow Nick. Yeah. I just know he's a popular guy, and this news broke and it took me aback. But without that video, I mean, I can't see any judge approving it.
So the video is what fucked him over.
I mean,
that guy
added another. Yeah, because each thing is not probably strong enough on its own, is what I'm gathering. So
yeah,
you need that, like you said, the totality of it's like a little bit of evidence, a little bit, this is weird, this is weird, this is weird. Yeah, probably something going on.
It's a lot of trouble for TikTok. Yeah. Go ahead.
And even that video, I mean, that just shows that he may have done drugs once. You know, it doesn't mean that there's drugs in the house. Mm-hmm. So from a defense perspective, I don't personally think there's probable cause to go in there, even with that video. So
really,
in my opinion, I think it's just weird all around.
What do you? Is that the defense for something like this? Like you get the search warrant thrown out because there's no probable cause there.
Yeah. So there's multiple ways to attack a warrant. It's either through the probable cause aspect of it, or there's some technical aspect of it that's deficient. Probable cause is really hard to challenge because a judge has already said there's probable cause. And so you're asking another judge to basically shit on their friend, which they're not really, jumping up in arms to do.
Yeah. Does it matter that judge hated Nick, or he was talking all that shit?
The one who granted the warrant?
The one who granted the warrant was the chick that he was...
Yeah, she's like, oh, fuck yeah. You get his ass.
Yeah.
So,
I mean...
So judges are pretty used to that, so that's not a legal reason for a judge to get off the case. But yeah.
Oh, man, so that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough for Nick to get rid of.
It's definitely going to be tough, and especially, if a judge says, hey, there is probable cause, the only way to challenge that judge's ruling is if he goes through to a trial and then appeals it, or take some sort of deal with the provision that he can appeal that judge's ruling. So it just becomes really messy really quick.
What if we break in to the evidence and do all the cocaine, and then there's none for trial? Would that be a good defense?
So yes, to say it as plainly as I possibly can. Yeah. If the evidence is gone, there's no case. So they got to make sure they preserve it.
So the children have to disappear?
Yeah, the children.
The children got to go. Yeah.
We need Yairo with ice powers. Yeah. To go in there and set the coke free. Wow, well that sucks. That's bad news. Poor Nick. Do you think? What do you think about the small townness of it? That's because you're in a town about the same size.
Yeah, the county is like 50,000, right?
Yeah.
So not a big county.
Do you think that's working against them?
Oh, for sure. This does not get approved in a big city. This one,
yeah,
sure.
Because honestly, who cares if somebody did drugs once on camera?
Yeah,
that happens all the time.
Yeah.
It to me it kind of reeks of small town politics.
Yeah, man.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean,
like the affidavit that everybody supplied with this person, it was full of like the Rekietas fired their nanny, and then the nanny went to work for a new couple at the church, and that couple came forward saying that they were worried about what was going on at the Rekietas' house
because the nanny was telling
stories. It's like, does anybody keep their mouth shut in this? Was that not like a?
Yeah.
Is that not something that happens here?
Well, churches are the most gossipy places on earth.
God, they're so bad.
Yeah,
really shamefully
wants to know,
bad.
Yeah, who's sinning more than them?
Yeah,
so they'll feel better.
Yes, there's a lot of that. I'm scrolling through it right now. The preschool director advised the pastor that the younger children have advised her. The children were advising her.
Yeah,
that they are hungry and not being fed. And also made a comment about the clothing. They wanted new clothing. One anonymous party advised that they do not believe the children are being homeschooled, while the older boys do not attend school at the Christian school. Why was that in there?
They all?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, all information.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna make the point that to me, there must have been something that either through gossip or through something else that got that detective to want to sit through and watch hours of somebody's content.
Yeah,
because I just don't see a police guy taking time out of their day when they're supposed to be, catching criminals to watch YouTube. Now Nick Rekieta's streams.
He's a cop of the town, I would guess, right? We're talking.
Okay,
so but the county. So I mean, how big is the town? If he's a town cop, maybe he doesn't have a whole lot of shit to do. Maybe it's 400 people. I don't know. I don't know where he lives.
An anonymous person advised the pastor that they observed Nick being lethargic and appeared to be high or drugged driving a car around.
Married, 5 kids. Next.
It sounds, in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, when they go to that cop
as your lawyer, I advise you.
Thing, and that guy's up there explaining weed to everybody. Yeah. Just seems like that. To me, like, then, and he's constantly jacking off. His pants are encrusted with semen for jacking off when he can't find a rape victim.
Right.
Another anonymous person advised that Nick will walk out randomly during sermons. Is that in a fucking legal document?
He's in his 40s. Maybe his prostate.
Maybe his prostate's fucked from all the cocaine. Anonymous individuals have advised that they have seen what was being described as an injection or track marks on Nick's arm.
Yeah, I mean, that's
kind of fucking easy to identify.
Yeah, I mean, people see kind
of.
They're
attached to a guy sleeping on the street.
Yeah, you gotta, you're gonna see. Who knows? He could have carried something fucking heavy with metal.
He could have been fucking his wife and got bruises all over his arms.
I've marked up, or who knows?
He's got young boys.
Yeah,
he lives on a fucking farm.
Yeah,
track marks.
You often see what you want to see. Too.
Yeah, it's all. So it looks like.
If they think he's doing drugs, then of course it's a track mark. It can't be anything else.
Yeah. It's crazy how many stories we have to drill into people's heads as children. That mass hysteria exists. That people will always vilify others when they feel like it. They'll all make shit up. Like we've got to read all. We read at least one major story about this every year as kids. Right? Like, we learned about Salem witch trials. Oh, yeah, everybody thought they were witches. Yeah. Obviously, witches aren't real, so everyone's just making shit up. Scarlet Letter, everybody fucking hated that bitch. And then the second you stop hearing those stories and get out in the real world, it's, okay, game on. We're doing that. We're doing all that stuff, right?
Yeah, because we're fucking superstitious fucking monkeys running around yeah.
Anonymous individuals have advised, track marks. They believe the Imholtz are possibly assisting with some type of drug use with Nick and his wife. Nick's blogging and views or subscribers are down, possibly resulting in financial issues.
Oh, so there's stress, he's turned to the bottle and the
Is this? Do you see this?
The needle and the spoon.
Do you see this in fucking search warrant affidavits?
It seems very
motive. His YouTube subscribers are down.
Is that
so?
Right.
That's what it says. Look at this.
No, I see it. Yeah.
The cops did this, and I'm fucking dumb for not believing the cops.
That's
okay.
Yeah.
Anonymous individuals advised the pastor that they believe the Imholtz, that's the couple they were allegedly swinging with, are possibly assisting with some type of drug use with Nick and his wife because Nick's blogging and views and or subscribers are down, possibly resulting in financial issues.
That's really grasping at straws. I don't know, man.
This cocksucker's just getting, hey, everybody, you got some shit to say about Nick? Let's go to the cops.
Let's
get a posse together.
Before I came over here, and if I go out and I decide to kill somebody, which is 50-50 maybe
50-50,
today.
Yeah.
It's he could have had a fight with his girlfriend before. So you could say anything that could be
subscribers are down.
Yeah.
An anonymous person also advised the pastor, man, this pastor is really betraying God.
He's a busybody.
Saving up gossip and gossip like this shit, turning it over on your... This is a real wolf in sheep's clothing here.
Well, Jesus. I got some spicy goss for you.
Yeah, really. I thought Lindsey Graham was bad. An anonymous person who advised the pastor that at one point Nick and his wife left with the Imholtz to go to a casino, leaving the children alone, putting the oldest son...
Den of iniquity.
They can't play some blackjack at home?
Blackjack and hookers. Maybe not blackjack.
Putting the oldest son, who was born in 2007, in charge.
Yeah.
16.
I used to watch...
One thing about the...
Yeah.
Good.
No, I was just going to say, I used to watch my younger brothers and sisters when I was younger than that.
Like 10.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Probably closer to 10 than 16.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking normal.
Yeah.
10-year-old kids can do anything. What were you going to
You know
say?
how to call 911.
Yeah.
Yes. So one thing I was going to say about the anonymous person line, it's unclear to me if it's the same anonymous person, if they're different anonymous people every time they list it. And, if I'm attacking this thing, it's very different if it's just one person just talking shit versus, the whole town saying, hey, there's a problem here.
What's the difference?
So I just have a lot of problems with how this officer is writing this up. The difference being, to weigh, a bunch of people saying something's going on, it has technically more weight than if it's just one guy. It's coming from multiple sources. Mm-hmm. The judge is considering multiple angles.
I see.
So, just to be more clear, I think the detective really needs to specify, if it's just one person, the same anonymous guy, or if the whole town is talking about this.
Putting the oldest son, who's 16, in charge. The pastor was unsure if that was suitable or not.
Yeah.
That's no wonder he went to the cops.
Right.
Hey, this family left their kids.
Yeah.
They're from 6 to 16. They left them home.
Yeah.
Alone. Allegedly, this cocksucker doesn't know if that actually happened, by the way.
Well, he also doesn't know what kind of kid the 16-year-old is. Why? How would he be in a position to judge the how well that kid could take care of the situation if they're gone for a few hours or something?
God, this is white people shit, man. You tell a Mexican pastor, padre, they left their 5 kids home with their 16-year-old.
I'll tell my wife to bring ours over.
Yeah, he's running a daycare.
Yeah.
Bueno.
Right.
Let's go to the casino. Okay. Wow. Is there anything else you had on here? Anything that popped out to you, Connor? It's kind of like a mouthful. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to make the point that, I come from a small town. I practice in a small town, similar to where Nick's from. And even in my experience, I've never seen anything quite like this one. So
yeah,
I just kind of want to just drive that home that there is something going on. Either
doesn't it seem
pressure,
like that? Something's going on.
Yeah.
That pastor's got an axe to grind here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it reeks of Footloose to me.
It does. It's some pressure on the police coming from either the church members or from some other outside source. But that's kind of where this all kicks off for me.
Small town politics makes some sense.
Yeah, it does.
In a big city, this is not even a conversation.
Yeah.
They don't waste their time on that.
They went to casino where they go, Yamava, Pachanga? What are you talking about? What kind of cases have you, what's the biggest, craziest case that you've defended? Can you say anything like that?
I can't comment on current cases, but, I've done, low-level drug possession to murder cases. I've handled pretty much everything.
Murder. Whew.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys do that.
Gets easier.
Yeah.
Gets easier.
Every time you do it.
I would imagine you kind of have to take...
Are you allowed to know if they did? Do you get the sense of if they did it or not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But everyone's entitled to a defense is kind of the line you've got to take in your head, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're entitled to a defense. I'm going to defend you within the law as best I can and let the chips fall where they may, I suppose. Yeah.
Right. You got to make the state prove what they need to prove.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you got to tell yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you say? I guess if you lose a murder, what's the response that you give to the guy if you were to lose one? Do you have it written in your head in advance just in case, like a moon landing gone bad?
I mean, there's the canned response you got to give them. So you have to advise them about their rights to appeal and, the time limits for doing that. You talk to them about how they can get all that set up. And so you get all the legal stuff out of the way. But most of it, I've had somebody get a life sentence before, and all you can really do is just say sorry. I'm sorry that happened.
What else can you say,
man?
What else can you
There's
say?
nothing you can do.
As soon as a sentence comes down, you just got to turn and smack him and go, "You shouldn't have fucking killed her."
Yeah. Well,
maybe that's not good.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Well, shit, man.
That's why I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in. I hope. What do you got? Any predictions for this Nick thing?
Oh,
I think he pleads to some sort of probation deal and gets in trouble with his bar. But that's about all that comes out of this.
Oh, you think he's going to get in trouble with the bar?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Is there like a conduct clause in a ethics?
Are lawyers not allowed to break the law?
That way?
I mean, that way. Money, I know they're not allowed to do money shit, but like other laws they're not allowed to break?
You're not to behave in anything that kind of disparages the profession. And I mean, there's ethical rules that lay it all out, but if you're out getting DWIs all the time, they're gonna get you in trouble for it. They're gonna give you a slap on the wrist the first time.
Hockey team. I
They
know.
make you take fucking George as a client.
Yeah. How the fuck did Landau survive all that shit?
His
then
dad.
His dad.
Yeah, sure. His dad. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, I hope he comes back to stream it again.
It's a fate worse than death. Taking him on as a client.
Landau.
I imagine that should be a way for him to get his subscriber numbers up, as if he does come back to streaming. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He's moving to a daytime show.
There you go.
That nighttime show, man, that was a big problem for him because he's doing his nighttime is already 2 hours ahead.
Yeah.
And then he's streaming for, Pacific Coast nighttime. It's like, man, you're gonna something's gonna happen. Something's gotta blow here.
Sure.
You gotta give up that church, man. You're hitting it too hard. Once a week? Oof. No. That's gonna be a big problem for you. Maybe once a month. Church. Don't ask anybody's name. Pastor looks at you, head down. I don't want you to fucking be able to identify me in a lineup, bro.
Sunglasses at all times.
Sunglasses at all times.
When you're feeling good, when you're not feeling good.
That Nick guy, you have any, eye problems? You ever look hungover? And I just look cool as fuck, rocking Ray-Bans every single mass.
Yep.
We'll get you next time. All right. Thank you for calling in, man.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
There we go.
Cool. That was cool.
Are we
that was cool.
Satisfied with
I like going through that. I thought that was cool.
Me too. You were saying if you don't fuck his mutant wife right, then he's gonna sue you.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out for these swingers, Sean. They're dangerous.
I don't want to get sued by a gargoyle.
You get sued, they turn the cops on you.
You have the whole county against you.
The whole county against you.
Coming after you.
Who would have thought that fucking a guy's wife isn't just, easy?
Yeah.
Turns out that so many things could go wrong for you.
Yeah, it's not for the
it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a little planning. Got to be a little smarter than a lot of people who try it, I think.
You got to be a little smarter
than the people who do it.
Safes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They won't bury one in the yard, maybe.
Right.
Have some decoy safes.
Right.
I guess we're back to Maddox.
There you go.
After all.
Yeah, the mastermind.
That guy, there was a guy called Patrick Melton. He runs a show called Nobody Likes Onions that was at Hackamania. He put Hackamania together, I guess, friend of Carl's.
Yeah.
He was a huge hate watcher fan of that guy Aaron Emholt, who was the part of the swinging group or whatever they were that Nick was.
You said a hate watcher?
Well, they just watch him and make fun of him.
Sure, yeah.
Because he's the kind of guy who would let his wife get fucked by another guy and stolen and then go on a publicity tour over it and cry to the cops about it.
Sure.
And I guess he had predicted this entire thing
really?
weeks ago that this is what was happening. Something like this was happening. He didn't have it like who or what, but he said something's happening sexually with those two and somebody like he had the whole thing mapped out, and we didn't know. We were just sitting in the dark, not knowing about any of this, but he had it all.
Dick.
Yeah.
One of Steel Toe's trolls, like they're wild and it's pretty funny. Like they had a countdown. You can go to the website. I think I can't remember the tag, but it's like Aaron Emholt something. But it's a website where they literally had a countdown for his next divorce. Like they had, and it was true. They said it 2 years in advance. It was a countdown for like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
And,
God, what a mess. And he was, I guess it was like a running bit on Aaron Imholt's show that he couldn't make his wife come.
Yeah.
This is something that he would talk about like as a joke.
Dude. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Well, he got pissed off at her. He got pissed off at her because they asked, he reads off every chat that he gets. So one of the chatters asked something like, how many can you make your wife come or something like that? And she was like, not all the time, but like, every few times, like a week or something like that. And he got fucking pissed about the answer, and he was really mad at her. So I think that's where that whole thing comes from.
Cuck rage. Big problem.
Cuck rage.
Big problem. Hey, Dick, this is basically what happened to me after my mom died. A vindictive aunt called CPS on my dad. They bashed down my door while my 10-year-old brother and 13-year-old sister were home alone. Totally traumatic. They thought we were being robbed. All these people chiming in have no fucking clue what they're talking about. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, sure.
Who the hell was this guy calling in at the end of the last show with the worst legal takes and like worst opinions on anything I've ever heard in my life? Oh, don't worry. They have no evidence of the cocaine other than the 25 grams of cocaine on the police report
I think
we've been talking about for a 2-hour episode already. Don't worry.
It's like, I got this. I got
it.
Fucking.
Also, don't
you
worry.
Gotta hear this.
Usually, they don't try to make examples out of lawyers in small towns having threesomes with large amounts of drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah, usually they don't try to make examples out of guys like that. They try to usually make examples out of guys on Skid Row. Like, are you fucking serious?
No.
It's not as dire as 25 years for Nick. It's not.
No.
But it is serious.
They can do whatever they want.
He's going to have to do some defending of himself. And like I think Sean might have said during the episode, we don't know how bad this got that quickly. Like, yes, someone from the church is probably just plotting to get him, but I saw something online, and I'm sure someone in the Discord sent it around, that someone from the church, the actual complaint was that the kids' clothes weren't changed, which, isn't like a real complaint, but this, depending on how serious this is, Nick could be seriously fucked. It's not just 6 months if things don't go well. Go fuck yourself, Dick. Love you, Sean.
It is.
Thank you.
People are real eager to write it off. Like, I'll get probation. I'm like, man.
No, I mean, there's no guarantees. Like, there's no guarantees.
What if they just don't like him?
Have people been railroaded before? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure they have.
Yeah.
It is I, the Nigger, and I need you to subscribe to, it says here, Clips